Hello, friends, and thank you for hanging out with us today on the Market Report here on Cointelegraph. I'm your host, Benton, and we're joined again by our resident experts, Jordan Finiseth, Marcel Peckman, and Sam Borgi. Jordan uses his background in psychology and human behavior to spot emerging trends in crypto. Sam Borgi is our business editor at Cointelegraph, where he brings a decade of experience in economic analysis and financial market writing. Marcel Peckman applies his 17 years of experience trading derivatives, options, and futures to the crypto derivatives markets. Folks, big meeting tomorrow, FOMC meeting. Is it hawkish? Is it dovish? Our market's going to implode, explode? Guys, what's going on this week? How are we feeling?
Benton, I don't think crypto investors should care about what the the Federal Reserve is doing or not doing. Inflation is running wild at 8%, 9%, and I don't think it's about raising interest rates from 1 to 3% or from 2 to 4%. That's going to change that. Risk markets globally, not only cryptos, have been trading down over the past month on the expectation of some crisis that may or may not happen. But what you got to understand is if there's huge inflation, it's not a 1 or 2% interest rate increase that's going to hold back prices. Prices are going to keep going up, and people are going to keep looking for scarce assets, and Bitcoin and crypto is an option. Yes, it's not mainstream yet, but it's becoming. So slow down, we're getting there.
Yeah, like talking about even a half a point raise, that ain't gonna do much when the inflation's like 8%. I'm pretty sure you'd have to kind of raise the interest rate above what the rate of inflation is to actually have any effect. So even though it's gonna cause havoc, but it's not really gonna do anything. So yeah, I'm still crypto for life. Woo.
Sam, how are we feeling this week, man?
As I mentioned before, I think the Fed will continue to raise rates and tighten monetary until they break something. So right now, the markets are pricing in quite a large interest rate. It's going to be interesting to get bad at managing monetary policy. They're hiking rates into a declining economy. That can't be good. See effects of that in the next 3 to 6 months.
Looking like we have a little bit of technical difficulties here with Sam today. But for those joining us, welcome to the Market Report from around the globe. Tell us where you're tuning in from. I see we have some folks returning back to the show. Our loyal viewers, we appreciate you tuning in. I see Luciana in there. How Richman thinks. We see Vikram. And our dear friend Balaport, thank you for joining. We just love having the trolls in chat, as always. So make sure you're staying tuned today. We're going to be giving away a Markets Pro subscription. That's right, 1 month free. So drop your Twitter handle in the chat. And if you haven't, like and subscribe. Cointelegraph on YouTube. We're here Tuesdays, 12 o'clock, folks. We're bringing you the nuggets you can't find anywhere else. And speaking of nuggets, we're going to be giving you some highlights this week of what's happening on the Twitter sphere, in the crypto Twitter sphere. So let's start today's show off with our weekly roundup, and then we're going to tell you about some of the most bullish cryptos you should be keeping your eye on, and having Marcel break down Bitcoin and Ethereum, what's going on this week. So first things first, let's jump into our weekly roundup. All right, folks. Big nation states adopting Bitcoin. Loved seeing that stuff. Huge headlines. Edward Snowden behind Zcash. Who would have thought that? Some crazy things unfolding. That's why we're all here in crypto, folks. But next, I want to hand the ball off today to Marcel. He's going to give us some really great information about what's going on in the markets, what we might be able to expect from Bitcoin. I see a lot of chatter happening in chat. Make sure you're dropping your Twitter handle for your chance to win the Markets Pro 1 month subscription. Ben P, I see you in there. Golf Channel, what's up? John Smith, interesting comment. Thanks for joining, though. Appreciate you. But let's let Marcel take this away. He's going to give you the good stuff. Danilo, run it back.
Thank you, Benton. So you've probably heard the expression whales are accumulating multiple times. But have you ever questioned where those coins came from? So who was selling if those whales are accumulating? There are some excellent paid services such as CoinGlass and CryptoQuant that track the wallets, the addresses of large holders. However, the headlines created by analysts and news portals are sometimes misleading. So whenever you hear that large entities are accumulating $2 billion worth of Ethereum or Bitcoin, just take a step back, because even if those coins went to those whales or long-term holders, we gotta ask who was selling $2 billion. So there's a possibility that, okay, there's 1 million small holders selling $2,000 each. It doesn't seem feasible, right? So it's quite unlikely. So keep in mind that every trade needs a buyer and a seller at the same price for the same size. So if somebody bought $2 billion worth of crypto, somebody else sold $2 billion worth of crypto, and it was not a million small fish selling $2,000 each. Having said that, what is the best indicator to look for weak hands selling? Exchange reserves. So those short-term traders and investors that aren't focused on holding on long-term investments, they leave their coins at exchange. It's easier, it's faster, and it's less costly for them, because whenever they want to sell, they just hit the sell button. They don't have to withdraw or transfer from the cold wallet to the exchange. That takes time, that is costly. So those short-term traders don't do that. They just leave the coins at the exchange, which I don't recommend. So that's why exchange reserves is such an important metric. But there's no official data for that, only estimates. Moreover, those exchanges have OTC, so over-the-counter desks, to handle large trades. So those traders willing to buy $100 million in a single ticket, they won't log in at Coinbase or Bitstamp or Kraken and try to buy it on the order book. They call the OTC desk, and the OTC desk will find a large seller for them. So those coins are not mixed on the same wallet, so it's really hard for the services to estimate how many coins are deposited on exchange. But we use CryptoQuant data for now. Danilo, can you share my screen, please? So what you're gonna see here is the estimate of the number of coins deposited on exchanges. That's the blue line here. And you can see that it peaked at 3 million Bitcoins deposited on exchange on March 2020. What happened to the price then? It crashed down to $4,000. But since then, from March to November, you can see that exchange deposits reduced drastically to 2.5 million coins. And what happened to the BTC price? When exchange reserves go down, the price tends to move up in a much stronger fashion. So when Bitcoin finally broke up above $13,000 in October and November, it rallied to $40,000 3 or 4 months later. So having less coins deposited at exchange means that buyers are gonna have trouble buying. So when there's a new inflow, it causes the price to rally much higher. And what happened to the exchange reserves over the past 6 months? Yes, it went down from 2.7 million coins to the current 2.4 million coins. So over the last 8 months, we saw huge withdrawals, coins being sent away from exchange, but the Bitcoin price was unable to break the $50,000 level. Thank you, Danilo, for sharing my screen. So what's going on here? I see two options. Assuming that the data is correct, that is only an estimate by CryptoQuant. So option A, those traders did not sell those coins. They simply moved the coins from the exchange to their cold wallets. They said, well, the price went down. I was expecting to sell Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever, a much higher price. So I'm going to withdraw from exchange and move it to the safe cold wallet. Option B, those short-term sellers gave in. They sold their coins to whales and long-term holders. But at the same time, there's more liquidity, more trades going on the OTC desks. So my guess is option B makes more sense. Those large buyers are buying from large sellers directly outside of the exchange. But the good news is someday those coins are their sellers are going to run out of coins, even those using OTC desks. And the buyers are going to have to move to exchange. And if there's less coins deposited on exchange, when the price breaks $50,000, it's going to move much faster above $100,000. So it's a good sign.
Fascinating. I guess so. When you're saying like over the counter, Marcel, we saw that dip in Bitcoin being actually on exchanges, yet the price kind of stabilized there and didn't shoot up like it previously had. Can you kind of break that down? Like, what does that mean? Like over the counter, why is there kind of like that not that price impact that it had previously?
Okay, so the over-the-counter trade basically means there's somebody intermediating. It can be an exchange or not, can be Alameda, can be a market maker who knows large buyers and large sellers. So when a large seller contacts the desk, hey, I want to sell $100 million worth of Bitcoin, but I don't want to log in at Coinbase or Kraken or Bitstamp and whack the market down 20%. Find me a large buyer, please. So the OTC desk will try to find a suitable buyer. He's going to make some calls and arrange the trade. So there's no impact on the price unless, of course, the seller says, okay, I'm willing to move the price down 5%. It's trading at $38,000. I'm willing to sell at $36,000, but make the sale. So OTC is meant for large trades and it doesn't impact the order book. So it's for large traders. So what I think it's happening is that liquidity has been moving from exchange to OTC.
Huh. Very interesting.
I know
Jordan,
in like the
or
precious metal
Sam,
markets, we've seen like the price of silver or something be trading at something. You go and try and buy the actual asset, it trades at a much higher premium. Do you think that could ever happen in Bitcoin? Like with so few Bitcoin on exchanges, there could be a disjoint between like the Bitcoin derivatives market and like what people are trading on exchanges?
Good question, Jordan. This is already happening. We have the GBTC, which is the Grayscale BTC. It's a large fund traded on US stocks exchange, and it's trading at a discount, 15-20% discount to the real BTC thing, because you cannot withdraw the Bitcoin from this fund and transform it to a real Bitcoin. It's just a derivative instrument right now. One day, maybe they'll be able to convert it to an ETF fund, but right now, once you buy the GBTC fund, you have a GBTC share. You don't have a real Bitcoin. So it's trading at a 20% discount. So yeah, I think that real Bitcoins will cost different from the Bitcoins traded at exchange, for example. If the exchange, for example, tells clients, well, now you're going to have to wait 10 days for making large withdrawals above 1 Bitcoin. So that's going to cause a difference on the price of real Bitcoins to Bitcoins held at exchange or derivative Bitcoins. It's already happening.
So we had a question from Vikram. He says, is BTC primarily traded on OTCs? Or is there other assets also doing the same?
BTC is primarily traded on derivatives exchange, so futures markets. And that happens to any tradable asset because it's much easier to trade futures because you can leverage. You can place $1,000 at exchange and trade $100,000. So there's more liquidity, there's more volume on derivatives exchange. But you gotta remember that the futures BTC or the GBTC is not the same thing as a real BTC that you can touch, that you can withdraw to your cold wallets. So yes, there's higher liquidity there, but the price can also differ.
Sam,
they,
did
they
you have any
tend to
questions?
go, if one is going up, the other is going to go up as well. And if you have a perfect instrument like the ETF, which is convertible, you can create an ETF, or you can ask the ETF provider, okay, I want my Bitcoin back. It's trading below, it's trading at a 20% discount, give me my Bitcoin back. So the ETF allows one to convert it back to the real Bitcoin and sell it on regular exchange. So the price tend not to disconnect so much.
So pretty much you're
And
telling us Bitcoin's going to 100K, Marcel.
Yes, Benton. Whenever it breaks 50,000, it's going to rally to 100, 120,000 much faster than we've seen before. That's the conclusion. So I'm bullish.
Very good. Sam, did you have a question?
I think that's it. I mean, I just wanted to ask Marcel about some of the trends that he's seeing in Bitcoin being transferred essentially from weak hands to strong hands, and whether that's going to mean Bitcoin is going to be less correlated with stocks moving forward or risk assets moving forward as more of the hodlers hold for the long term.
No, I don't think so, Sam, because if adoption remains below 10%, if there's only a small part of the population that perceives Bitcoin as a safe haven instead of a risky asset, it's going to continue to be volatile and follow traditional markets. So until adoption gets to 30%, for example, we're going to still be perceived and traded as a risk asset.
Very good. Marcel, dropping the knowledge on us today, folks, about Bitcoin, what's going on at the professional level, and some of his insights as what could be happening. So we hope there's the bullish case for Bitcoin. We hope that things will start to get a little bit better here in the markets, but we're going to see. Folks chiming in the chat, John Smith today, Balapur is just throwing shade left and right today. We're here to spit the facts, to give you our opinions about what is to come next. So we appreciate everyone for jumping in the chat today. I see it is ablaze, but we're going to give you some of our bullish tokens to be on the lookout for here in 2022. First things first, though, I'm going to hand this over to Sam. He's going to tell you why Dogecoin is going to be the pick of this year. Danilo, let's roll it into Sam's segment for today.
Great. So if we're talking about the most bullish cryptocurrencies for 2022, my pick is actually going to be Dogecoin. And I know many of the listeners are very familiar with Doge, but I'm actually going to look at it from a slightly different perspective as to why I think Doge can perform very well this year or in the short term. First of all, people have to realize that most altcoins are considered degenerators against Bitcoin. That means over time, alts tend to go to zero against Bitcoin, or they tend to weaken against Bitcoin over time. There's a very select few altcoins that are considered oscillators. They trade with Bitcoin over time. So if you're looking at the market structure today, and there's a possibility that we can see a bear market. I mean, we are in a more or less in a bear market from a traditional sense. You're going to want to hold cryptocurrencies that move or oscillate with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the OG. It's not going anywhere. It has monetary properties. It has store of value. Institutions are buying it. Bitcoin is here to stay. For me to hold that oscillates with Bitcoin, that trades in the same direction as Bitcoin more or less, is probably MLA. Dogecoin tends to be one of those very few altcoins that are oscillators, and it's traded in the same direction as Bitcoin for more or less most of its history. So if I'm looking at a bear market, I'm going to want to hold an asset that oscillates with Bitcoin. Even though Bitcoin might decline and it could have another leg down, it's still going to be a much better option than some of these more speculative alts that will go to zero against Bitcoin over time. When I talk about going to zero, I'm talking about it from the perspective of price in BTC, not price in US dollars. So that's the main reason why I think Doge has strong potential this year, especially if the market is volatile. Also, Elon Musk recently purchased Twitter, or he has an agreement to buy Twitter for $44 billion. We all know that Elon Musk is a strong supporter of Doge. I think there's a strong possibility that we could see some kind of Doge payments added to Twitter in the future. And if that were to happen, it's going to be huge. And in fact, earlier this week, we saw Mark Cuban, the billionaire owner of the Dallas Mavericks. He actually proposed a system where Dogecoin can be used as collateral for solving the Twitter spam issue. We had an article on it on Cointelegraph. It's very fascinating, but the founder of Dogecoin actually really liked the idea. So there's already being talk about Doge being used as a form of collateral that could actually help reduce spam on Twitter, which is a huge problem. Also, after Musk purchased Doge, or after Musk purchased Twitter, I should say, search Dogecoin on Google skyrocketed. So again, you see that connection between Elon Musk, Twitter, and Dogecoin, which is a very strong connection right now. Ultimately, if we're going to look at a bull market, you can't have a proper bull market without retail interest, without retail FOMO. I think if we do get retail interest, one of the top coins that's going to benefit is going to be Doge. And that's it.
I thought you brought some very interesting perspectives to Dogecoin, and immediately some people think, oh, well, it's just a meme coin. But when you bring in the oscillator factor and some of the other facets to why you actually think Dogecoin has a bullish case, I mean, I think the stars appear to be aligning for what could be potentially a massive year for Dogecoin. So I thought your analysis was really sharp. I see Marcel has some questions, though, so I'm going to let Marcel jump in here first.
Yeah, Sam. DOGE, the developers and the community, made many promises over the years, but we haven't seen a single upgrade delivered. Meanwhile, Litecoin, for example, is working on Mimblewimble, so the privacy solution. Bitcoin is working on Lightning Network, so a payment channel, a second layer. And what is the future of Dogecoin? What is being built over there?
Yeah, I think that's a fair criticism. I think a lot of these projects, they, what they say they're going to do and what they actually do are vastly different, or at least the timelines are very slow. Even in the case of Litecoin, the Mimblewimble, I mean, when I saw that news article, or that, I mean, I wrote about that on Cointelegraph, but when I saw that news come out, I'm like, whoa, they're actually doing something. This is literally 2 years delayed. So I think we have to keep that these projects are very slow to move. I think Litecoin is, or Doge is underdeveloped in that respect. But you take a look at the community, you take a look at the buzz, you take a look at the payment potential, the way of Dogecoin potentially as a payment mechanism. Those seem to be positive catalysts, but that doesn't discount the fact that there are a lot of question marks about its development. I don't disagree with that at all. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens. In the meantime, I think there will be enough speculative interest tied to Elon, tied to Twitter, tied to retail in general that could be very favorable for Doge in the short term.
I have a question though in regards to. Hey, go ahead, Jordan.
Benton, go ahead. I don't have a question.
You got it. Oh, so I was gonna say, like, is there a downside where, like, the Elon Musk factor could actually be a double-edged sword? Is there anything at play or risk at play where you see, hey, Elon's going to put his foot in his mouth and that could actually impact Doge? Is that something you're considering when it comes to your outlook for this year?
Absolutely. I mean, Elon Musk has been a very bizarre proponent of crypto and of Bitcoin, and we saw a massive U-turn, for example, an about face, because he kneeled to the ESG fanatics who don't really understand anything about Bitcoin, for example, when he announced back last year that, oh, you know what, we're not going to accept Bitcoin payment for Tesla cars anymore, of the environmental impact, which was a very surprising U-turn for a guy who should understand the technology, and he does, but there was so much pressure, I would assume, on corporate side announcement. So again, you never know what he's going to say, more frequency these days. So he could say something that could backfire and that could send the market tumbling. I guess the one thing that we should keep in mind is that the potential of his tweets in the market has declined over the past year. He still has an impact, but one-off tweets seem to not have as big of an impact as before. So I'm trying to look at it as on a more broad scale. The fact that, okay, the acquisition of Twitter, he's a pro-Doge person. We're going to see some crypto integration on Twitter, in my opinion. I think Doge is going to be well positioned for that.
Actually, a lot of the price hype did get pumped up by Robinhood traders, and now that you can withdraw your crypto from Robinhood, do you think that could lead to a decline in Dogecoin trading or an increase potentially?
Yeah, I mean, anytime Robinhood is involved, it's hard to really predict what's going to happen. I think there's definitely downsides in store for Doge. There's definitely the potential for that. I just tend to look at it as being, it's the first meme coin. I think that It has cultural significance. I think it has a massive community. If I'm going to be looking at that from the perspective of a bullish catalyst, I do see that as being favorable. But the speculative aspect of it does open up a lot of potential downfall for sure.
So,
Go ahead, Marcel.
Sam, Doge only has like 240,000 active addresses with at least $1,000 deposited. That's not even half of what XRP or Tether has. So, considering that the cost to move XRP or Tether using Tron and Solana networks is irrelevant, why would anyone use Doge for day-to-day payments instead of USD or XRP?
Yeah, they probably won't. They'll probably hold it as a speculative asset, or the use case will come in if something like Twitter integrates it. So that's what I see the catalyst. And like I said, with Musk at the helm, that's a possibility. But I wouldn't use Doge as a payment right now either. So for me, everything is lining up for a potential speculative rally for Doge. And I think if retail does come back in, I think this is going to be a potential play, but those are valid criticisms of that aspect of it for sure.
Is Doge environmentally friendly, Sam? The proof of work.
Well, no, I guess not. I guess I'll defer to the ESG people on this one because I used to write about ESG, by the way. You want to know what ESG is? Nobody knows what it is because no one can find it.
Yeah.
Well, if Doge is merge mined with
The
Litecoin,
obscure.
technically it doesn't take any energy, right? Because all that energy is for Litecoin. So Doge is doesn't use anything, right?
There you go.
Wow. Solving the world's problems through Dogecoin.
Yeah.
Well, Sam, great analysis today on a meme coin and interesting takes as to why you think it might have a bullish case here for 2022. Folks, chat is ablaze today. We have folks just up in arms about the Dogecoin pick this week. And a lot of people like it. So we're going to have a vote at the end of the show, though. So you will have your voice heard. We appreciate it. Don't forget to drop your Twitter handle in the chat today because we got that 1 month free subscription on Markets Pro. We're going to be giving that away at the end of the show. Folks, I'm going to give you my most bullish coin for 2022 next. So Danilo, let's go ahead and run it back. All right, one of the most controversial picks of 2022. That's right, folks. It's XRP. Putting this one on your radar because I think a lot of people forget that it's a top 10 coin. And if those of you are not in the loop, the SEC filed a lawsuit against Ripple Labs and 2 of its executives. The claim is that they traded $1.3 billion in cryptocurrency XRP as a security without registering it with the SEC. So now there's been a long litigation between the SEC and Ripple Labs. The token gets a lot of crap, but let's not forget, folks, what it's trying to do is replace the SWIFT payment system. Outside of the US, Ripple has set up many strategic partnerships with governments. And even though it has this kind of bad rep inside the US, getting delisted from Coinbase, XRP is a brand name across the globe. And I know this is a very polarizing token, but I think that this is set up for one of the most bullish cases of 2022, because looking at this lawsuit, things are looking like a decision will be made by the beginning early of 2023. And I think right now, I'm going to pull up a chart for you real quick. Danilo, if you wouldn't mind sharing my screen, I'm going to kind of show you what I'm looking at when it comes to XRP and the setup that I'm looking for. So I want to highlight this green horizontal ray here. What I noticed just kind of like looking at the chart, looking back to 2021, is this point right around here at 60 cents. Is you can see the local highs here, but also the local lows. It keeps bouncing from the 61 cent mark. And I think things are looking set up where this thing could take off if you get any good news that the SEC makes a misstep. This whole Hinman case file becomes public knowledge, where the SEC kind of looks like they were meddling in actually setting up Ripple Labs. So I think there's a lot of things happening for XRP where this could set up to make it a huge 2022 if there is a decision for the lawsuit here by the end of the year. And folks, I like to go against the grain. And when the market sentiment is crapping on XRP, I'm wondering why. And I want to dig a little bit deeper. So I like to position myself ahead of the wave and not have to paddle and try to catch the next big wave. So I'm getting ready for this XRP wave, good, bad, and different. I think it will still be one of the most bullish cryptos for 2022. So you got any questions? Let's pepper it. I see folks in chat just getting ready to fire away. So let's hear it.
So
I can
Ben,
start.
I know there's been some positive developments regarding the SEC case. Do you actually believe that Ripple has a good chance of winning the lawsuit? Because usually the SEC picks its battles very, very carefully, and it very rarely loses. So I know there's been some positive developments there, but looking at it from a broader perspective, do you think that Ripple can walk away with the win?
It does not look like it's going to be. It does not look like it's going to be positive for them. I think there's a lot of hoops for them to jump through, and a lot of finagling they'll have to do to actually get this whole Hinman file of what they're talking about, or speech, to be public knowledge. Because the whole argument right now is that the SEC is claiming that it's client attorney privilege, and it was for a division, and it was a speech, I guess, that he made to a certain group of people. So that in itself is going to be tough. From the law side of things to actually uncover that. And I think that's kind of like the linchpin keeping things together. XRP is going to have an uphill battle in regards to the actual legal suit. Is it likely that they'll win this? I don't think so. But regardless of the decision, I still think things will be favorable as they're trying to replace the SWIFT system. And it seems to me that XRP being one of the most centralized, tokens on the market, that it's going to be a much easier transition for governments to say, hey, we'd rather use something where we can go after a company, after a figurehead, and penalize them or work with them, as opposed to saying, hey, let's just use Bitcoin as this payment rails network where we don't know who's the future head. We don't know who is the executives if anything goes wrong. So I think governments are just kind of like cozying up to XRP more broadly. And it seems to me that the global sentiment is there.
You muted, Marcel.
Marcel, I think you're on mute.
Sorry. Benton, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so you keep saying that XRP is going to replace the RippleNet financial system, but over the years, Ripple has tried to partner with money remittance services, including Santander, and it has basically failed. The XRP token is not being used for remittances. So what is the end goal here? Because if XRP is trying to replace the dollar as the global remittance currency, it already has failed. And if XRP wins, yeah, our blockchain is going to be used to settle tokens. So you can have the Brazilian digital currency being transmitted, the Chinese digital currency being transmitted using the Ripple, not blockchain, but the database. So what is the use for the XRP token in that case? Because even if they win, they lose. I don't see a victory here.
I mean, so to your point though, with the whole CBDCs, they're setting up this like payment rails where countries, I think, can all interface through one system, and that's that replacement of the SWIFT system. So just like we're trading, in yuans or euros or dollars, it's going to be the same exact replica. And I think for the traditional world of governments, it's going to be a much easier transition to a world that is XRP or Ripple Labs than to kind of like go to this completely decentralized infrastructure. So that's why I know logically it may not make the most sense for the crypto people, but I'm trying to look at this through the traditional lens of saying, hey, they're going to be transitioning into this new system, which is very much so similar to the SWIFT system they have in place. It's just a little bit more efficient.
But how does it help the XRP token?
Because all the transactions that they're going to be doing are going to have to be paid in XRP, regardless of whether it's a CBDC or not. It's the same thing as sending like USDT on the ETH network or USDC. You're still having to pay the gas in XRP.
I think the way they handle it in some of those instances is like somebody has yuan and they want to send it to somebody that has Deutschmarks. they transfer it into XRP, send it across, and then convert it back. And because not everybody's going to want to necessarily hold like one, and like it's kind of like the Lightning Network, how there has to be Bitcoin in each side of the wallets or the transaction. XRP is kind of be like the middle currency that flips between all of them. But I wondered, like, do you have any statistics on how much it's being used already by banks and stuff? Is there integrations, or are people kind of waiting for the lawsuit to clear up, or is there kind of adoption already going on? Do you know, Benton?
That's a great question. I did not have the time to do that thorough of research in regards to like current countries, things like that, that actually have this system in place. I know what I've read and explored is that there's been a lot of partnerships though between like government bodies and them actually exploring the use of that XRP Ripple Lab system. All right. No further questions. We're going to keep this show moving. Don't forget, folks, Twitter handle in the chat. Go ahead and drop it in there. We are going to be giving away that 1-month subscription of Markets Pro here at the end of the show. We're also going to be allowing you all to have your voice heard. Who do you like? What token do you think is going to be most bullish this year? So I know Jordan's going to be talking to us about Kava today. He's going to give us the case of why Kava is going to be the most bullish coin for 2022. So Danilo, let's go ahead and let Jordan take it away.
All right, so yeah, I picked Kava as the most bullish coin. I know when I was given the task, it was right now, not for the whole year, but Kava's doing good on its own. First of all, you can stake Kava. When I like it, like in bear markets. I know Marcel might give me a little poke. When like, why stake something that's going down? But if it's a coin you like and you're a long-term hodler, like a lot of us are, staking offers a little bit of incentive for like the pain. And with Kava, you can stake it for 35.44%, and it had been on a nice little run recently. I know this most recent dip in the whole market kind of took it down above $5 down to about the low fours. But a lot of the reason that it was pumping was because of this news. Again, Kava is a platform that focused on the DeFi sector. Again, the DeFi sector has also been one of the more lambasted. It's kind of been on a downtrend for over a year now. So I know it's a tricky pick, and I'm not going with the big flashy names like my coworkers here. But Kava offers the opportunity. It's a way to get in on the DeFi. I know you guys are
Jordan with the DGen pick this week.
Oh man!
So yeah, but the big thing coming up with Kava is a Kava 10 upgrade, which is essentially kind of releasing Kava Network 1.0. The upgrade is expected to occur on May 10th. If your Kava holders actually can participate in approving that launch right now, if you hold your Kava, go and vote in the government's vote, and you can approve to have the network launched on May 10th. It will include the launch of the Layer 1 Kava network, which will also add support for the Ethereum virtual machine alongside interoperability with the Cosmos SDK. The Cosmos ecosystem has been one of the more rapidly growing ones recently, so I think there's a lot more room for it to grow in the future. The old Kava blockchain will become a new code chain on the Kava network alongside the Ethereum code chain. Now, one of the reasons I'm really going with this is because like we've been hearing a lot about the merge, and I keep seeing people misstate it that the merge is going to do something for Ethereum fees, and it's not. It's going to be at least a year past that when they do another upgrade, because Ethereum stays on top of their upgrades, right? That before any kind of relief to transactions come up. So this leaves the door open for other competing networks or platforms that can actually serve the Ethereum DeFi community. And Kava is that with its new Ethereum code chain. It offers a good opportunity for the low fee environment on Kava and the Cosmos ecosystem to be used for Ethereum projects. There's already more than 15 projects that have launched or deployed onto the Ethereum code chain, including Ren Protocol, Wing Finance, and WePiggy. And there has been no downtime so far. So far, so good. Again, it's looking to launch on May 10th, but the background testing has been positive so far. It also has a cross-chain bridge with BNB chain, and being EVM compatible probably means that eventually anything that else is EVM compatible will be able to bridge onto this network. And again, really low fees. And they did launch a $750 million on-chain developer incentive program at the beginning of March. So it shows that it's funded, and they're trying to get more developers to the ecosystem. So just a bullish pick on my turn, from my perspective. And yeah, Benton?
All right, so I got questions. Why should I explore the Kava network over a Kronos or maybe any other chain out there? What makes it?
Kava's been around.
Yeah.
Kava's been around longer than some of those other ones. I know. I remember hearing about it, maybe even in the 2018 bull market series. And I think it's just a more longer or more well established program. I know they did have some integrations with Binance before, and then they went into the Cosmos Station wallet, and now they're really getting more integrated with the Cosmos ecosystem. And the addition to the Ethereum co-chain, which is a big thing for the whole Cosmos ecosystem, in my opinion, really makes it a little bit more like bullish, in my opinion, my perspective.
Is there some stablecoin on the Kava network that is buying Bitcoin as reserves? If not, I'm out of this.
Well, technically speaking, Terra Luna is within the Cosmos ecosystem, which is like a sister chain, I guess you could say, to Kava. But I'm actually, when I was reading yesterday, there is a mechanism to mint stable coins on Kava, but I didn't get too deep into the weeds on that one. And there are some, I think there's USDT, and I know I saw BUSD on their exchange. So they have some stablecoin integrations, but I don't think they're going with that Ponzi-nomic thing yet. We'll see.
If it doesn't have Ponzi-nomics, I don't want it.
Well, it's just like the best graphic representation is if you take like a surge protector and you plug it back into yourself. That's what a lot of these DeFi platforms are doing, right?
That's true.
But it's on the blockchain, so it makes it better. Like, why are you using blockchain in the first place? What's the utility of the blockchain? But I digress.
Yields.
So
Yields.
Jordan, I see for the staking of Kava, it's like you get really high returns for staking, but it's really high. Like, it kind of makes me a little concerned about the sustainability of the staking rewards. Can you maybe talk about that?
Yeah, it's 35% right now. That is high for like long-term sustainability. I think a lot of it is to try and attract people to it. I know people, Marcel likes to joke about it, like they incentivize staking so you don't sell their coins. I'm like, yeah. And look what they did with Ethereum. They incentivized staking, and now it's locked up and you can't even get your tokens out, and they don't know when you're going to get them out, and yet the price is still kind of stagnant. So we can kind of debate whether or not how much that affects it. It's really like the overall market sentiment. But yeah, I think eventually you definitely want to see that that yield come down for long-term sustainability. Again, I think right now it's more to incentivize people to adopt. But yeah, fair point. And that's the same thing with a lot of the staking thing. It's like, ooh, especially in the Cosmos ecosystem, everybody needs to be aware that most of them you got to have to like 14 to 21 day unstaking process. So you can't just unstake and dump. Protective of the ecosystem, but you know, there's always kinds of things going on there trying to make it in a better favor for the coin and price, I guess.
So Jordan, do you have any like favorite projects on Kava, or you just are investing in Kava, the native asset of the chain?
Well, right now, it's not too many projects have launched on Kava. Again, the projects that are on like the Ethereum co-chain are actually other established projects like Ren that have deployed on the network. I don't know. I haven't seen too much about them actually planning token launches on the actual DeFi platform. It's more about trying to bring interoperability between different networks, assets from different chains into one location, which I know that there's other platforms out there that kind of do the same thing. But I think this is probably one of the more advanced or better options within the Cosmos ecosystem.
Benton, who are the Kava competitors, and what are they better or worse in comparison?
On Kava, I'm assuming you're talking to me, not Benton, but
That's right,
Kava
to Jordan.
competitors as far as DeFi platforms on top of Cosmos, there'd be Osmosis. I know the Juno Dex. There's a couple. I'm most familiar with Osmosis. I think what's the big difference between them? Well, Osmosis is more established right now. Kava has kind of been doing its own thing and establishing its own Kava network, I think, has been its focus. That might give it a one up, even though the whole network kind of operates as like they're all layer ones and Cosmos is almost like a layer 0 token that is the underpinning for the whole ecosystem. I still need to get more clarification on all that. But yeah, Osmosis would probably be the biggest competitor to Kava. And what's the biggest difference? I have to look more into like being able to describe what's the differences between the two.
I've seen a few folks talk about Cadena. Is that like is that the sister chain that you had mentioned?
No, it's a co-chain with the Kava and Ethereum, and then I said I said sister chain is in all the different chains within the Cosmic ecosystem are sister chains. That might not be
Mm,
the right thing to say, but I was just kind of relating it as if it was a family because they're all like they have the same parent
that's true.
underwords, I guess.
They use the same technology. Is that it?
Yeah, yeah, they use the same. They use a Tendermint consensus on the underlying and powered by the Cosmos ecosystem.
They're all birthed through. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. No, great take. I mean, I'm gonna have Kava on my radar now. Thanks, Jordan, for the the insights there. Sam, you had any last questions there for Jordan?
No, I think that covers
Okay.
it. But yeah, Kava has actually been on my radar for a while, but I never did the deep dive. So this is actually really interesting.
All right, good deal. Well, we got our live poll up, folks. That's right. Decide what token will be most bullish in 2022. We're going to come back and check this at the end of the year and let you know if your picks were, if they were on point. But go ahead, vote in the poll. Drop your Twitter handle in the chat because we got a very special guest today coming in for the back half of our Markets Pro segment. We got one of the OG users of the platform. You want to stay tuned. He's going to tell you why Markets Pro could potentially change your life. So let's go ahead and get into it for this week. I got to tell you about a couple tokens that should have been on your radar. We're going to talk about Newsquakes and Vortex Score. Danilo, let's go. Nexo, yeah. If you would have had that Newsquake alert, that's that automated alert that instantly notifies you when market moving events happen. So Nexo, what happened? Well, April 29th, Nexo enjoyed a parabolic yet short-lived pump on the news of its upcoming listing on Binance. The price exploded the moment the platform's tweet instantly captured as a newsquake went out. Within 8 hours, Nexo's price spiked from $2.20 to $2.76. 25% gains, all aboard the gains train. Toot, toot. That's what Markets Pro Newsquake alerts will allow you to do. Moving on to the Vortex score, it's SWINGBY. Yeah, I'd never heard of this token until I started jumping into the Markets Pro platform because the Vortex score, which is a comparison between its current market and social conditions of those in the past, Vortex score indicating 80 or above is historically bullish, and conversely, anything around 30 is going to be bearish. Well, SWINGBY became one of last week's top performers thanks to a massive rally you saw on the 27th and 29th, really. And what happened? Well, some 36 hours before upside kicked in, SWINGBY lit up a dark green 83 on the Vortex score, and it went all the way up that price action that you see there. The white line will tell you that was a significant uptick. We love those Vortex scores. And now I want to allow Steve Mesa to join us today. He is one of the OG users on the platform for Markets Pro. I want to learn, what is he doing? How is he using the platform? What kind of trades is he doing? And how does he like to use the Vortex score? So let's go ahead and welcome in Steve. How are you today, man? Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Benton.
Right on. We were super excited to chat with you real quick about Markets Pro platform. I'm just curious, like, how have you enjoyed it? You've been one of our original users on the platform. What is some of your favorite aspects of using it? And I guess tell us about some of your biggest trades too.
Well, for sure, my favorite thing is the Discord channels. Seems like just a really good culture there, a really nice group of people, and you can get a lot of good trading ideas or just investment ideas by hanging out in the Discord. So the Discord's definitely got to be a highlight. As far as the best trade I ever ran into was, of course, a newsquake, and that happened last year. It was on Alchemy Pay, or ACH.
I do remember that. That was a big mover. And is there anything that you'd like to show us from the platform, or you'd like to do a screen share?
Sure.
Yeah, I'd love to see, like, how are you navigating some of the stuff on the platform, and like, what do you feel like when you get a newsquake? Are you trading on mobile? Are you doing it on desktop? Like, how quick are you moving on some of these newsquake alerts?
Well, on a newsquake, you really want to be fast. If possible, you want to be within the first 5 minutes of that newsquake, especially if it's like a Coinbase listing, which the Alchemy Pay was a Coinbase listing. So on the newsquakes, you want to move fast. But trading is all about ideas. And so what's great about Markets Pro is that it is a gold mine of ideas. The Vortex score, I open it up every day. Every morning I look and just see what the green list is. So there's a list of tokens that in the past had good performance under these conditions. So I do not trade just on a score. You have to, but the score gives you the idea, right? And if it's a good idea, it'll be a good trade.
So is there a particular strategy that you'll deploy around the Vortex scores? Like, are 80s, are you really kind of looking at those, or high 80s, mid 80s? Like, what's kind of the tipping point when you get a lot of these Vortex scores as well?
Well, the higher the score, the more confident you can be that it matches, a positive move in the past. So I definitely, if I see a high 80s or a 90 score, then I really pay attention to that. It doesn't mean that something that's in the 60s or 70s wouldn't be a good trade, but you really need to dig in, do your research, pick your entry, have a strategy beyond just the score.
Good deal. And Marcel, Jordan, Sam, do you all have questions for Steve?
Yeah, I have one. For example, if there's a newsquake that comes out and saying, well, XRP just partnered with Santander, how long does people have to act on that? Usually 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. What's the times? How much time sensitive are there usually?
Well, the listing announcements, depending on what platform it is, like Coinbase listings, you have to act immediately. If it's a Binance listing or some of the other platforms, you might have a little more time to get in position, because sometimes the price increase may not happen. It may happen over the course of a week. If it's a partnership or something like that, then you really just kind of have to do your research. The most recent one just happened in the last 24 hours. Algorand partnered with, what was it? It was a soccer platform. I don't remember what it was, but that one moved pretty quick. So in general, if it's a newsquake, the quicker you can move, the better. Make your decision and go with it.
Good deal. Is there any hot tokens or tips that you might be able to give to the audience today? Is there anything on your radar that we should be aware of?
I don't think I have a hot tip or a token, but I think the guys on the Discord would be disappointed if I didn't say, of course, I'm always buying IOTEX.
IOTEX. Okay. All right. You heard it here first. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's my bullish token.
All right. Good deal. Steve, thank you for joining us today. We hope to have you back, and maybe next time we can get a little insights as to what might be coming up, so we can catch one of those Vortex scores or maybe the next newsquake. We appreciate you joining the Market Report today, Steve.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Right on. Very good. Well, folks, our poll is officially closed, and guess what? Guess what token won today, guys? I think Sam's on heater. It's Dogecoin, 50% of the votes today. Well, I have to say, I think that's like the fifth or sixth show. Sam's just taking it away here. Congrats to Sam. All right, folks, last chance here. Drop your Twitter handle in chat. Drop it in there. You want to win this. You just heard Steve talk about what he's using the platform for. One of his biggest trades last year. God, it's 1 month. One trade could make your lifetime. And that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to give you that subscription and just let you try it out. That's all it is. All right. Any closing thoughts for today? I'm going to hand this off to Marcel first. Give me your closing thoughts in conclusion of today's show.
To have
You're
in
muted,
mind
Marcel.
is that
It's working now.
Okay, so what I want people to have in mind is that crypto, yes, you can day trade, you can do short-term trades, but you need to leave at least 20 or 30 position on a long-term wallet, and don't touch it, don't leave it on exchange. At least 20-30% of the position, build, if it's not Bitcoin, build a basket of coins, but leave it there, don't trade them. Wait a couple of years, wait 4 years. We will not regret.
It would seem to me like that's a good time to stake, Marcel. Just saying, those are the good opportunities if they're staking coin. But yeah, stay strong, people. Find your good coins, pick your winners. I'm glad that he brought up Algorand there because I remember I talked about that recently. Again, FIFA is the biggest soccer organization on the planet, and they just partnered with Algorand. I think that says something, and people are just like, oh, poo-poo, whatever. Algorand's a good long-term pick in my opinion. But yes, stay strong. We might be in a bear market, but a lot of people are talking about the fact that we've been in a bear market since like last May. So from that perspective, it's almost been a year, guys. So we're through the thick of it.
Yeah.
You can only hope.
Yeah, your misery has been for a year, not for a few months, everyone. Just put that in perspective. No, I think we might get some more volatility in the short term. We got the Fed this week. They're expected to hike rates. I think they're going to continue to do so moving forward. But they're hiking rates in a declining economy, which I think is going to lead them to really not be able to normalize monetary policy as much as possible. So, be on the lookout for narrative shifts maybe later on this year. In the meantime, don't get too freaked out if you see another leg lower, because right now everything seems to be on that volatile track, given the Federal Reserve, given liquidity, given everything else going on. So just keep that in mind and keep have that strong conviction in crypto and in the holdings that you have, and I think you'll be fine in the long term.
Yeah, and real quick, the winner for today's Market Pro is going to be Soph 87F. You are our Markets Pro winner. We will shoot you a DM on Twitter from the Cointelegraph account to give you your 1 month subscription. Hopefully you can make some solid trades on the platform. Want to remind our viewers, this is not financial advice, nor is this the opinion of Cointelegraph. These are the personal opinions of each panelist here that you are seeing on the show. And folks, check out the swag shop. Forgot to mention that. You see Jordan's shirt, you see Sam's shirt, you want swag from Cointelegraph? We got it. It's store.cointelegraph.com. Get your swag. Make sure you stock up for the summer, folks. We got swim trunks, we got sandals, we got towels, anything crypto. You're going to the beach, you're going to the pool. Yeah, we want to get you covered in crypto. So make sure you're going to the store.cointelegraph. Closing remarks from me is buy and hold. Continue to buy and hold. Stay strong. Even during these times, like Sam said, have your conviction. Know why you first got in. We're changing the world, folks, and you're a part of it. So thank you for joining the Market Report today, and we look forward to having you back next week. Until next time, over and out.